We thought the Bucs versus. Oh, let me start over. I'm gonna start here now. 3, 2, 1, action. So for our second round matchup, we have the 2-seeded Boston Celtics going up against the 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. Get your popcorn ready. We had a couple of good first round matchups, and if you thought those were good, boy, oh boy, you are in for a treat as well too. Now, this matchup is going to be pretty interesting as well, too. And I know you pulled up some of the regular season stats for this. So it looks like, let me see here, November, Boston won by 11. December, Boston won by double digits. Christmas Day, Milwaukee won 117, 113. And then April the 7th, Milwaukee won 127 to 121. So it looks like they split the season series 2-2. So it's definitely going to be pretty interesting as well, too. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking super forward to it. I believe Giannis was Giannis in that series, and Jason Tatum is Jason Tatum as far as the stats go. They kind of went nuclear against each other itself. But there's going to be a lot of things, and we got to address the elephant in the room first and foremost. Chris Middleton with the left knee sprain. We were pretty much being optimistic and thought that he would be able to return at some point in this series, but he actually has a grade 2 sprain. So unless the Bucs find a way to, get through this series within the next 2 weeks, Middleton will not be available until the Eastern Conference Finals. So that's going to be huge because that is their quote unquote closer. He's 6'7", 6'8", about 220. He can score on all 3 levels. He's great at passing out of the double team as well too. And him and Giannis have a great, 1-2 punch. And he's going to be that extra body who can help guard Tatum or help guard Brown to alleviate some of that pressure on Giannis as well too, because Giannis is most utilized when he's playing basically that safety feature, and then he can also protect the rim. So he's going to have his work cut out for him as well too, and we're going to see what happens. But I think some of the things we have to kind of look out for is the Celtics have to look at tape of 2 years ago when Miami Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks, and then take it a step further, a year before that when the Raptors beat them as well too. So they're gonna need to build that wall. They're definitely gonna need to build that wall. They have the personnel for it. Grant Williams, Robert Williams, the two-way wing players, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You got Al Horford, you got Tice. So they got a lot of bodies as well too. So expect to see a lot of different players guarding Giannis in the half court set. But like I said, that they're when they get that ball in transition, they're definitely gonna build up that wall as well too. So I can see Horford and I can see Grant guarding him as well too. And then when it's all said and done, the wing players are gonna do their thing as well. But Giannis is a different animal, right? And with the Bucks, as opposed to the Nets were a very ISO heavy team. It's like, all right, KD, I'm gonna give you the ball, go to work. Kyrie, I'm gonna give you the ball, go to work. And when we get that dribble penetration, or if we're on our spot, he's either 1-on-1, we're gonna sort of blitz you, and then we're gonna force other players to beat us, and we'll live with that. And it worked. Obviously, Steve Nash this is the second year as a coach. We've had our up and downs, mixed emotions with Coach Bud, but he won a championship. He went deep into the playoffs. He's been deep into the playoffs a few times, whether it be with the Hawks and obviously now the Bucks. So as far as side by side comparison, coaching him will go Bud over Nash. So I expect Bud to have a great game plan, and the Bucks just play more free. They run more set / motion offense. So I don't really think there's going to be times when the offense seems kind of stalled as well too. So I only really see them double teaming Giannis if he gets the ball in the post. But Giannis is smart enough to basically pass out of that, and his shooters are going to be able to knock down shots. Now his shooters were knocking down shots in the first round against the Chicago Bulls at an extreme clip. Now, can they kind of keep that momentum? And it's going to be a little interesting this time around because Boston has a 2 seed, right? So on the road, that's when the role players don't play as well. So how is that going to affect the role players starting off on the road this time as opposed to starting off at home and that carryover? I mean, but they are defending champs. So if there's anyone to, kind of stay even keel, it would be them as well too. Um, but the Bucs have length, and that's something that the Celtics are going to have to kind of look out for as well too. I mean, when we saw the Nets play, they had Curry, they had Brown and Kyrie on the floor all at once. This time
And
around,
Dragic.
Dragic is nasty. So this time around, we're gonna see. I mean, you take away Middleton, you still got the average. If you take away Drew Holiday was 6'4".
Yeah,
Everybody else is at least 6'6", 6'7". So
yeah.
that's gonna be a good matchup back and forth. So Brown and Tatum, the whole Celtics team is actually gonna have to guard, and they're gonna have to work a little bit more on the offensive end as well too. But the Bucs are gonna need to get out in transition. I feel like the Nets were okay at it, but when LeBron, I said LeBron, I'm so sorry. When Giannis, who's LeBron basically 2.0 in this day and age, when he gets the ball, whether it's the rebound or you got Brooke Lopez or Bobby Porter getting the ball, give it to Giannis and let him go off in transition and put a lot of pressure on the Celtics. I think he can get a few of them boys in foul trouble, but it's going to be crazy as well too. So overall, I mean, I've been looking at analysts talk about the keys to winning X, Y, and Z. Some of them still have the Bucs winning because they have so much hope for, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he can do it, but nowadays, man, I'm really starting to see the formula to success. It's health, and I take health over a lot of things as well too. And I kind of equate series to relationships, right? When you're starting to talk to someone, you got to identify those red flags. I just feel like the Celtics really have no red flags. At least they're hidden until now. But the Bucs, like I said, is very evident that that boy Middleton is not going to play. So it may be too much for Giannis and too much for Drew Holiday, but we're gonna see. But as of right now, I got the Celtics winning in 7 games at their home. They're gonna take advantage of home court, and it's gonna be very interesting. What about you, man?
I think the most important matchup in this series is gonna be Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday, in my opinion, right now. Like, if Drew Holiday really wants to put a stamp on his career and show people, all right, he's been underrated for a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Every NBA player will be like, oh, you gotta watch out for Drew Holiday. He's actually like one of the best defenders in the league, but also on offense he hasn't really put his stamp. You know what I'm saying? So like if Giannis is gonna get anybody to help him this series, it's gonna have to be Drew Holiday stepping up. When you really look at the Celtics, they're not exactly a big three. It's kind of similar to what the Bucks actually have. Honestly, if you want to count Drew Holiday in that big three and you don't have Middleton there, you got the big two, you got Jalen Brown, you got Jason Tatum, you have a big two, you got bigs in Horford and Williams, you got bigs in Portis, you got Lopez, you got your
Serge
shooters, your
Ibaka.
white boys, your Pritchard, Serge Ibaka. You got on both sides they have what they need to win this championship this year. Just no Chris Middleton, and that's kind of a factor that I think is gonna matter in this series. I don't know how much it would have mattered if Chris Middleton was healthy, but because I don't know if I would have even like said like, oh, the Bucks are just gonna win this in 5 or 6. I still think either way, if Chris Middleton is healthy, it goes 7 games. We just have to give it to him because of this matchup. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the Bucks because of Giannis. I think I think in this series we're gonna look at Giannis like yeah, you've been saying like you go the humble route and you know, I got my team with me. No, at some point you won last year because you had a whole stacked team, you faced the Suns. Exactly. just as you just did, you're gonna have to start putting your stamp on your career and say, "Hey, I'm down Middleton, but I got Drew Holiday. I got a nice squad right behind me. You got Grayson Allen right there. You got Pat Connaughton right there. I think I said his name wrong. You got your bigs. Everybody's healthy except Chris Middleton and George Hill doesn't even matter to begin with. You got your older brother right there. Hopefully he gets some minutes because I honestly think he's an underrated defender. Doesn't get any minutes because you didn't really need him versus the Bulls. But I think he could actually get in this series and step up and face a Jalen Brown, face a Jason Tatum when Giannis goes off the floor to be an extra defender because you're gonna need that against the Celtics this series. I got Giannis going at least like 25 to 40 points in this series, like a game. I don't think he's gonna have a game where he's off like just 20 points. Because when you really look at it, if they're gonna stack that wall against him, you still have shooters that he has on the perimeter. And if Drew Holiday steps up, I mean, yeah, you got Marcus Smart who can guard him, but at the same time, Marcus Smart is gonna be guarded by Drew Holiday. That might end up canceling out because as we know, for two-way players, if you're gonna have to guard the best player, you might not do as much on the offensive side. When they were playing the Nets, all he had on the offensive side for Marcus Smart, it was slight work. You just stand on the 3-point line, you get the ball when Jason Tatum or Brown kick it out, and get your buckets in because nobody's going to defend you like that. Drew Holiday is going to make it hard, so you might cancel out Marcus Smart this series. Drew Holiday might show up and be a star. So I got the Bucs in 7. If Giannis goes crazy, if not, then it might go like 5 or 6 for the Celtics.
Yeah, and another thing is too, I think the primary defender on Drew is definitely going to be Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. Like you said, I'm excited for that matchup as well. But look to see Tatum and look to see Brown on him a couple possessions as well too. And they 6'7", 6'8", 230. So they might wear him down, and that may be the game plan for sure. But it's going to be pretty interesting. But you said you got the Bucs in 7.
I had the
And I got
Bucs in 7.
the Celtics in 7. Okay.